Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Music Contrarian. It's a channel where I do music reviews. And today I am bringing you JPEG's latest album, I Lay Down My Life for You, which just dropped today, August 2nd. Now, I'll be using a tier rank system to rate each track. So from S tier, being the absolute best, 10 out of 10 tracks, to F tier, being the less impressive, 5 out of 10 and below. And yeah, all the other letters in between. So let's dive in. So the lowest rated track that I have on the entire track list for this album is either On or Off the Drugs. Now I gave this about a 6.5 out of 10. So definitely feeling solid like D tier material on this. This track just didn't quite hit the mark for me. It just felt like, Peggy's flow felt a little bit boring and repetitive. It lacked the dynamic energy really present in the rest of the album. I would honestly say it's arguably one of his weakest songs here. And it's just hard for me, at least, to find something very memorable about it. So now we have the second worst song, Vulgar Display of Power. I give it about a 7 out of 10, so about C tier. The rap rock style kind of used on this track, it just feels so repetitive and just overused at this point, especially after just hearing that rap rock, rap metal sound. It just gets old and it kind of just starts to bleed into the other songs and it just doesn't really stand out. And while by no means is it terrible, it just lacks the punch that other songs on the album deliver. Now, my third worst song, New Black History, featuring Vince Staples. I get that a 7.5. Easily, that's a solid, C tier right there. I would say this track really sits in the middle of the road for me. Vince Staples did bring a very solid performance to the song. But overall, I can't justify giving it anything higher than mid. It was just mid to me. It wasn't particularly engaging. And I found myself really waiting for it to end rather than enjoying it fully. So now we're going more into mid-tier tracks. So more of maybe slightly above average tracks that kind of maybe sound decent, but they're not crazy, good or anything. I screamed this in the mirror before I interact with anyone. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. Definite B tier. It's a solid start to the album, I have to admit. Definitely sets a great tone for at least the first half of the album. Which we'll talk about the halves of the album momentarily. But the energy and just the raw emotion in this intro track, it immediately drew me in. I instantly knew that this album was going to be a treat, that I was going to enjoy myself. And all around, I just think it works amazing as an opener. So now we have our fifth worst song, I'll Be Right There. Gave it another 8 out of 10, so another B tier right there. It's a decent song that fits well within the album. Maintains a very consistent vibe that really just keeps the momentum of the album going. And while it's not really a particular standout to me, I just think it's a good track that just overall just contributes that flow, that vibe, that atmosphere that the album and that Peggy is trying to go for. Now, next we have our number 6 worst album, I Recovered From This. Another 8 out of 10. There's a lot of 8 out of 10s on this album, in my opinion. I feel like it had a lot of potential. This track had a lot of potential. It could have been really just a legendary song. And that's not to take away from, the music in the song and what Peggy's vision might have been. But at least for me, I just feel like there was a lot of anticipation and just didn't really work out. I just really wish that Peggy would experiment more with singing. I definitely think my favorite tracks from him include, singing and not just him rapping. Not to say that his rapping is bad or anything, but I do think this is still a very solid track that just showcases, his experimentation with actually having emotional depth in a song and just creativity beyond, the boundaries that he already pushed in his past albums like Veteran, LP, and Scaring the Hoes. So now we're getting into some territory of some actually really good songs, some songs that I'm definitely adding. So we have Ex-Military. Gave it a solid 8.5, definitely a B plus in my opinion. Very eerie, but awesome track that just stands out with its very unique vibe And I just really love the haunting atmosphere and a lot of the experimental elements that Peggy often incorporates in his music. That's what really makes this track intriguing. And it's almost unsettling, but it's in a way that keeps you hooked, right? It doesn't push you away. So now we're getting into like really, like I said, like really good songs. I would say like high tier, almost like perfect songs. So we have Sin Medio. This is the single that originally came out before. So I heard this before the album. Pretty sure a lot of you may have heard this. If not, definitely should check it out. It was super catchy. Amazing riffs with the guitar. The moment I heard it, I just knew it is instantly going to be a highlight. Like it's going to be instantly like just a fan favorite. The infectious energy and just the memorable hooks. It just makes it such a standout track. It's just so hard not to love it. So next we have Don't Rely on Other Men. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this was, this might have been a single. I have to double check on that. But the guitar just gave me goosebumps on this track. And it was just a powerhouse. Where Freaky's feature, it just added a whole extra layer of intensity on it. It's definitely a top song, and it's just for sure a highlight that definitely left a lasting impression on me. So we're getting into Don't Put Anything on the Bible. I gave that a 9 out of 10. Easy A tier. This was what I heard in the album trailer, and it got me hyped. It definitely got me hyped. I just loved how heavenly the vocals were. It was just so beautifully crafted. And like I said, I think this is the main thing with the album. I really did came into thinking that he would lean more into singing. Slightly disappointed that he didn't. But that is not by any means, like I said, to say that this song was not amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I just love Don't Put Anything on the Bible. And just the ethereal quality of Buzzy's vocals on this, it just added such a unique touch. I just loved it. So now we're getting into, I would say, my, around top 4 favorite tracks, perfect songs. I literally have no complaints. It's Dark and Hell's Hot. Oh my God. This track, originally, when I first heard it, the vocals threw me off a little bit. They're saying something like bada 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 bada. And it was kind of weird. It's kind of odd. That's most of Peggy's work to a degree. It's some odd experimentation. But really, I think it started to age really well. It aged like wine. And the more and more I listened to it, the more and more I realized this is actually a really decent song. It's definitely a highlight to me. And definitely, I just love the sound, right? The track is starting to grow on me. Definitely a favorite of mine. Jihad Joe, another perfect song, S tier. The bubbly sounds, I don't really know how to describe it. These bubbly sounds and synths, just combined with those acoustic drums in the background, easily makes this one of the best tracks of the album. It was just so bold, and it was just a fresh sound that really just stood out. You can't really ask for anything else from this track. Then we have one of the best with Denzel Curry. 10 out of 10 S tier. The beat flip on this was legendary. I swear, when Peggy started rapping with that beat switch, oh my God, it was amazing. It has to be easily, maybe a hot take on here, one of the best Peggy songs I've ever heard. Denzel Curry's feature was fire. Overall production was top notch. Definitely gave me some Alchemist vibes. I could for real hear Earl Sweatshirt on this. It definitely gave off those vibes. And it's just a perfect blend of just energy, creativity, and just perfect execution. And finally, one of the best songs, along with all these other perfect songs that I just mentioned, 10 out of 10 S tier for Loop It or Leave It. Ironically, it followed one of the weaker tracks that I rated lower. This song is just such a standout. It definitely gives me some abstract hip-hop vibes. I just love the piano, and just the overall vibe is just absolutely incredible. Definitely gives you some Danny Brown vibes, especially, reminiscent of some work from Danny Brown on XXS and Atrocity Exhibition. Honestly, if Peggy made a whole album in this style, definitely could be one of his greatest. So what are my thoughts? Well, overall, I think this album is a solid B+, right? Definitely B tier territory. The second half, in my opinion, definitely works better than the first half. Not to say that the first half is bad, but about a quarter into the album, it does get a little bit boring and repetitive. However, I do think, the standout tracks and the high, points definitely make this a for sure recommend. I can for sure see a lot of people loving this album, especially, fans who love those vibey atmospheric traps. So like if you liked, Kingdom Hearts Key, that's at least one of my favorite songs. Definitely think you'll like the second half of this album more than the first half. This album, I mentioned this in a short of mine, definitely reminds me a lot of Tyler the Creator's own evolution. Tyler himself started with more abrasive, you could even say edgy works, these dark themes, and gradually shifted to more vibey, atmospheric tracks. It's what Tyler himself described as kind of, music that people can get high to, right? And Peggy seems to be going on a similar path, right? And I do hope that he does lean more into the style of the second half of this album when he works on his future music projects, just as Tyler did with his album Flower Boy after Cherry Bomb, which many consider. I mean, it's not necessarily his best work, but definitely a fan favorite. Igor is just a culmination of that. But I definitely think just seems like Peggy is becoming less hoe scaring, right? Ironically, coming off of Scaring the Hoes in his album trailer. I mean, we see women in a Peggy music video. Well, not music video, but more like album trailer. I mean, this is definitely a new era for Peggy. And it might finally be safe to play Peggy on the aux from here on out. So, but that's my thoughts. That's what I think. Definitely recommend. You should definitely listen to the album. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. If you like to hear more music reviews from me, definitely going to be posting more consistently and everything. If you want to hear any reviews about any particular new albums or songs or anything or artists you want me to check out, definitely leave a comment. Make sure to like. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. And thank you for watching.